Good evening and welcome to Tribune Sports Live. I'm Zach Steele with Alan Taylor. And Alan, Friday night, paws versus claws, it was one for the ages.
Well, it was everything we expected. We knew it was going to be a hard-fought battle. We knew we had two explosive teams, and if you showed up for that game, you got your money's worth.
Absolutely. When we come back, we're going to talk about that game a little later in the show. We're also going to talk about the Pinson Valley Indians and their home loss to Minor. We'll go over the playoff scenarios and give you some predictions there. We'll be back in just a moment.
At Bryant Bank, we focus on you. You'll never have to worry about being just another number in the system. When you're a member of the Bryant Bank family, our Bryant Bankers will work to understand who you are, where you want to go, and how we can help you to get there. We're big believers in developing relationships with our customers, and we value friendships we make along the way. Bryant Bank provides unbeatable service and legendary results. Bryant Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
All right, Coach, congratulations on another win, 53-35 tonight. You cap off another undefeated regular season and do it in a rivalry game, Coach. How's it feel?
Well, I'm going to tell you what, I've got a lot of respect for Hewitt and what Coach Floyd and them guys are doing over there. He has built that program. They are so solid, okay? And what they did tonight will translate next week against James Clemens. I really think they got a really good shot to beat them.
Absolutely. Coach, Ty again with a huge night, got to the end zone.
Yeah.
Seemed like on just about every drive, Coach. Just what are you seeing from him right now?
I mean, look, Stuart Floyd and all those guys on offense, they have a great game plan every week. And then the kids go out and execute it. You know, I didn't like the 2 fumbles. All right, that's something we don't do. And if we do that in this kind of atmosphere, you know, we got to learn from that. All right, this is playoff atmosphere. Last week, playoff atmosphere. That's exactly what we needed going into the playoffs. So I am super proud of our offense. But think about it. Defense, we're reeling in the first half. We go up, we make some adjustments, we just talk a little bit, give up 7. That's an outstanding job by Sean Tosman and his guys.
Right. Coach, obviously gave up a little bit in the running game tonight defensively.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah. Just tell us about the challenge of stopping Jerry and Street for them in that offensive game.
Well, you know, I looked at the tape. Jerry's a great player. I thought number 2 did an outstanding job. Bottom line is we didn't read our keys and do our job. Right. So if you don't do your job against a great player, they're going to take it to the house. Right. So hopefully we'll learn from that. This is good tape for us to watch.
Coach, the senior standing behind you, A.J. Walker, he's really become more and more part of this offense.
Let me tell you something, all right? This is a kid right here. The colleges are going to get on this board right here now. This is a great football player. He can do everything we ask him offensively, run, catch, block. All right, he's showing his abilities now. And you watch, this kid's going to do big things one day. He is a solid human being and solid and great football player.
Absolutely. AJ, they've really started leaning on you more these last couple weeks, man. Just how do you feel like you've performed these last 2 weeks?
Pretty good. I can still work hard, though. I still got much more to improve on.
Right. You're getting a lot more opportunities, a lot more carries. Is it kind of a mentality you guys are looking to set of a physical running game that you guys possess?
Yes, sir. Pretty much.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, AJ.
Right,
I appreciate it. All right, Coach. Finish up the regular season here tonight here at Clay Chalkville. Come in here with a sophomore quarterback, Coach. Just how'd you feel about Davis Bergen tonight?
I thought Davis did some really good things. You know, I think, you know, obviously he had a week of practice this week, so where he was really the guy, and it was a lot easier for him to come out here tonight. And but thought he played really well. Thought he did some really nice things. You know, threw a couple touchdowns, I think, and you know, he got better. We just didn't make enough plays to win the game.
Moving forward, I mean, you look at the 2 opponents he's played against so far. He's played against Hoover. He's played against Clay Chalkville. How does that help him now moving into the postseason play now?
Hopefully it'll help us. We've obviously played 2 really good teams. We've played teams all year, you know, but obviously the last couple of weeks been pretty good teams. And so, you know, he played well tonight. We just got to go back and try to get better for next week.
All right, Coach, you really had the running game going tonight. It was very effective for you. You had some different packages. Obviously you had Jerry and Street going. Just how do you feel like the way you're able to play physically?
Yeah, I mean, you know, our region that we're in is physical every week, and you know, and I thought we thought we could come out here and be more physical, and I think we were a lot of the night. We were able to run the football really well, and you know, we did some good things. We just didn't quite get it done, you know. But I can't ask for any more from our kids, man. I'm so stinking proud of, and you know, we've had so many guys go down with injuries. You know, had another guy go down tonight, and so you know, our guys could have shut it down. We came out here, had a chance to win. You know, I'm disappointed we didn't win because I think we could have.
Right. Coach, just defending this offense, Ty Pigram at quarterback, obviously. How tough is it against a dual-threat guy like that?
Well, it's tough because he's hard to tackle, you know, and he just throws it up in the air. Those guys go get it, you know. And, I mean, you know, there's certain things they do. There's no way to cover it, really. Absolutely. I mean, it's just a matter of if they make the play or not. And, you know, they've got those two receivers, and, you know, they're probably the most talented offense in the state. I mean, they probably are.
Right. Coach, how do you feel now moving into postseason play? What's just the mindset of this team? You kind of got to regroup now after a couple of losses.
Well, I was proud of our guys again when we started the week. You know, I think we could have gone one way or the other when we came back Monday. But we had some guys step up. We had some seniors step up, and they don't want this thing to end. And you know, playoffs just one game at a time. So we'll have to come back, obviously learn from this, but move on and get ready for next week.
Hewitt and Clay met again in the Paws versus Claws Classic, and the Clay Chalkville Cougars just outlasted the Huskies, Alan.
Well, they did. You know, it was a slugfest for really 3 quarters, back and forth, really both offenses dominating. And, you know, we've talked about all year this Clay Chalkville offense, and, of course, they were as good as ever, but really impressed with the way the Hewitt-Trussville Huskies came out and played offense really the first 3 quarters.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about the Huskies and Davis Bergen, who came in and did an admirable job against this tough Clay defense. He filled in for Zach Thomas, who'd had, you know, the leg injury. He came in and did a really nice job.
He really did, and you know, he got kind of thrust into the game against Hoover, a little shaky at start, then he settled down. But Davis Bergen had a solid performance against Clay Chalkville. He was 10 of 20, 128 yards. Pair of touchdowns. You know, they put him in situations to help him be successful in that game.
And you and I talked about in the preview show, we expected the Huskies to be creative offensively, maybe see some guys do some things we hadn't seen before. We did see that this past Friday night.
Well, we did. I kind of kidded with Coach Floyd during the week. I said, "Have you got any surprises for us?" And really, and again, not a coach myself, but I thought earlier in the week about Grayson Cash. You know, a talented, has played quarterback before, and I didn't ask Coach this, but they did put him in at the Wildcat, and Grayson Cash had a great game playing Wildcat. And a wrinkle that Clay Chalkville hadn't seen, and really caught Clay back on their heels a couple of times with that.
And we also saw Noah Igbenogany in the backfield too. They motioned him in a lot like the Florida Gators used to do with Percy Harvin back a few years ago. And he had a nice job, a nice game running the football as well as catching the football.
Well, he did. You know, he's got the speed, and, you know, to bring him into the backfield, run the speed sweep with him some, and do some different things with him. I thought Coach Floyd and his staff had a great game plan, but really at the end, just not enough firepower to handle the Cougars.
And you, as you said, the Clay offense was, again, unstoppable in this ball game. They stopped themselves a couple of times with turnovers, but Ty Pigram was just amazing. You know, 7 touchdown passes he accounted for in this game.
Well, I mean, he really, we continue to talk about him, and he just, you know, 14 to 24 passing, 292 yards. He had 5 touchdown passes. He ran for 2. You know, this guy's the real deal. And you know, we talked a few weeks ago, when are people really going to start noticing him on a major level? And I'm telling you, this kid can play football. And then when you throw in there that he's got 2-3 blue chippers to catch the ball, you know, it's an offense that's really, really difficult to stop.
Speaking of one of those blue chippers, T.J. Simmons, 6 passes, 6 receptions for 130 yards. He had 4 touchdown passes, made 1 outstanding catch in the end zone as he was getting hit.
Well, I mean, he could be the best receiver in the state right now. He really is playing well. You know, it's assumed that Ty Pigram will be the 6A Player of the Year, but you know, T.J. Simmons could very well fill that role also.
You could pick almost 3 or 4 guys off of that offense and call him the Player of the Year. The Clay Chalkville defense struggled against the Husky offense. They kind of solved the riddle midway through the 3rd quarter held the Huskies scoreless in the fourth quarter, and that was the difference.
Well, that was the difference. And, this defense we've talked about all year, and they've been sporadic. They've played good most of the season, but they've been a little sporadic at times. The Huskies had them back on their heels, but they really came together in that fourth quarter, kind of figured it out. And that Clay Chalkville scoring 3 straight times after the Huskies took a 35-34 lead. 3 straight times you'll hear about the Clay Chalkville scoring, but they also stopped the Huskies 3 straight times, and that was the game changer.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the playoffs for both of these teams coming up a little later in the show. When we come back, we're going to have the weather for you for the Thursday night game for the Huskies and the Friday night games for Pinson and Clay Chalkville. We'll be back in just a moment.
Trustful Vision Care is now proud to offer sports vision training for athletes. This sports-specific training improves hand-eye coordination and reaction time. As a former college athlete, Dr. Steele knows how important perfect vision is to succeed on the athletic field. For athletes, 20/20 vision is not enough. Trustful Vision Care.
Well, right now it looks like the weather for Friday night football is likely to be cloudy and wet. Most of this week we'll have cloudy skies, but with no rain. That may change Friday as storms possibly move back into the area just in time for high school football playoff games. We will keep you posted on changes throughout the week.
Gunnar Oil would like to invite you to visit one of their 3 stores on Deerfoot Parkway. Both Shell locations on Deerfoot offer delicious Hunt Brothers pizza, one at Highway 11 and the other at Old Springville Road, which was a BP and now has a fabulous new look customers need to see to believe. The Chevron at Happy Hollow Road features mouth-watering pop donuts that are delivered fresh each and every morning. A proud supporter of the community for more than 20 years, offering quality products at a fair price in a clean environment with friendly and efficient service, Gunnar Oil.
Just a tough loss to cap off the regular season, but
not the way we wanted to finish. But good thing about it is we got another week to play, so that's that's always a positive. So I try to take positives out of losses. Hopefully our kids will learn and make some mistakes. We'll learn from them, come back. We'll be okay.
Is this one of the games that you just kind of throw away and move on, or do you really harp on it?
No, I don't think. I think you gotta accentuate the positives and fix the negatives. So we're gonna learn from it. We'll watch the film, coach will watch the film, show them what we did wrong. We play a really, really good football team next week, so at their place, we gotta work that out for us.
Do you expect Torrey to be back next week?
I hope so, but I don't know. With his knee injury, him cutting and stuff, if he's not 100%, I'm not gonna put the kid out there in this game. We'll make a game call next week and see how he practices and go from there.
If you can get him back, how much would that do to really balance the offense?
Oh, we hadn't had him in 6 weeks, so it'll be big for us. Kymel's done a great job for us running the ball. It'll be a good 1-2 punch for us we hadn't had in a while, so it'll help our run game a lot.
And looking forward to Austin. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, big, physical, good football team, good coaching staff. Kind of like what we've been seeing here recently. So we got to work it out for us.
The Pinson Valley Indians hosted Minor last Friday night in a matchup of 2 teams that are playoff bound, Allen, and Pinson struggled in this one. They lose 26-16. The offense just never could get going.
And that's surprising because Pinson's offense has been so good under Jackie Matthews' leadership, and they really just never could get it going Friday night. Could be a lot of reasons for that. Maybe they know they're in the playoffs and they're looking ahead a little bit, but they really just never got on track Friday night.
The only scores for Pinson were set up really off of special teams. They had a blocked punt deep in Minor territory that they cashed in for a touchdown. Jay Woods had a safety return for a touchdown, and those were really the only scores for Pinson in this ballgame.
Yeah, Pinson only had 214 yards of total offense, only 28 yards on the ground. And it's hard to win a football game when you can't rush it for more than 28 yards. And so Jackie Matthews has just been stellar all year, and he still is a very good quarterback. Struggled a little bit, 17 of 42, 186 yards. So it wasn't the Pinson offense that we've seen throughout the season. But give some credit to Minor. They played well on defense Friday night.
And Pinson's been without Torrey Hendricks, their running back, for the last 6 weeks. So they're hoping to get him back for the playoffs. Coach Glover said no guarantees, but they would love to have him back.
Well, moving forward into the playoffs, of course, it's one and done. And so Pinson has got to find a running game for the playoffs, or it's going to be short-lived. They can't just ride Jackie Matthews and his arm. They've got to be able to run the ball, or they're not going to be able to throw effectively.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that Pinson matchup as they travel to Austin. We'll also have the Players of the Week. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Tribune Sports Live is sponsored in part by State Senator Slade Blackwell of District 15. Senator Blackwell represents parts of Talladega, Shelby, and Jefferson counties, including the Trussville area. A former high school and college athlete, Senator Blackwell is pleased to promote our local schools and student athletes. As football season gets underway, it's time to say, go Huskies, go Cougars, and go Indians. Here's to a successful and safe year for all who are involved with high school athletics in our area.
Jefferson Memorial Funeral Home and Gardens is home-owned and operated by the Seal family. I've known Eddie Seal and his son Adam for over 25 years. They're community-oriented and, more importantly, good folks who know how to take care of people in their time of need. That's how Jefferson Memorial became Trussville's funeral home and cemetery. Jefferson Memorial is located at 1591 Gadsden Highway. You can call them at 322-0543. Before your need arises, let Jefferson Memorial family take care of your family.
And now it's time for Tribune Sports Live, Players of the Week, brought to you by Gunter Oil. Our first player of the week is Clay Chalkville's wide receiver, T.J. Simmons. Simmons caught 6 passes for 133 yards and 4 touchdowns. He also added 3 pancake blocks on the edge. Our next player of the week is Hewitt-Trussville's very own Jerian Street. Jerian rolled up 171 yards and 2 scores on 26 carries. His longest run of the night, a 75-yard touchdown that came in the first quarter. And our final player of the week is Pinson Valley's Che Woods. The South Alabama commit had 2 big plays in the Indians' 26-16 loss to Minor as he returned a 50-yard punt for a touchdown and intercepted a pass in the end zone. Congratulations to you all. This has been Tribune Sports Live, Players of the Week, brought to you by Gunter Oil.
Whether you're looking to buy your first home or you're trying to sell the one you're in now and need advice from a realtor, turn to Lee Marlowe, Realty South Realtor. Contact Lee today at 205-913-9559 or visit Lee at leemarlowehomes.com.
Paul Davis Emergency Services of Northeast Birmingham helps by providing needed cleanup and restoration services. Through the appropriate tools and processes, we avoid wasting valuable time to get your property to its previous state as quickly as we possibly can. Through our experience with restoration services in Birmingham, we can determine the necessary services depending on your property and type of damage, which may include smoke and fire damage restoration, water damage restoration, wind damage restoration, and mold removal. Paul Davis, Recover, Reconstruct, Restore. 205-687-0556.
All right, prediction time. We're going to talk a little bit about all 3 of these games. We'll start with Austin hosting Pinson. Alan, Austin's got a pretty impressive resume.
Well, they do. They actually have beat the top 2 teams in 7A. They beat Spain Park first game of the season, and I do think Spain Park improved during the year. But last game of the year, they go up and beat the number 1 team in 7A, Bob Jones. And so Austin 8-2 on the year, a pretty good team. And I look for them to take care of Pinson Valley. Pinson could make this close if they can get their running game going, and I'm picking at 24-17.
I'm with you. I think Austin's just got too many weapons. They're a big physical team. That's one of the things Coach Glover talked about. They are one of the bigger teams that they've played all year, and they've played Clay Chalkville. So I like Austin in this one, 27-14. Pinson's had a very good year. I think it's going to end this coming Friday. All right, moving on to Clay Chalkville hosting Coleman. Now, we're talking about Austin and the teams they've beaten. One of the teams they lost to in the region was Coleman, who shows up on the road to take on Clay Chalkville, and this can be a trap game for the Cougars.
It could, you know, and as we've talked before, Clay's coming off of an emotional game with Hewitt-Trussville, a rivalry game, and so and of course they played well in that game, but a tough physical game for them. But I don't see Clay Chalkville having a letdown in this game. I think Coleman might keep it close for a little while, but I think Clay, their offense is just too dominant. I'm picking Clay to win this one 51-28.
I like Clay in this one too, a little bit closer. I just think that they're going to look ahead a little bit. They're going to move forward, and they're looking, you know, for that second or third round matchup when they're going to take on somebody like Muscle Shoals. They have to watch out for a team like this. This team can play with people. If they've beaten Austin, they're a good ball club. I still like Clay to win, very similar to the fashion that we had Clay versus Hewitt-Trussville. I like Clay 49-35 in this one, pulling away late. All right, the Hewitt Huskies go on the road this coming Thursday night, a short week for them. They take on Clemens. Your thoughts on that one?
Well, James Clemens, again, has a 9-1 record on the year. They've played great. Their only loss was to Bob Jones, who was the #1 team in the state up until this week. You could see James Clemens #1 at the end of when the polls come out this week. So a very, very good team. The only common opponent they have with Hewitt-Trussville is Mountain Brook, and they beat Mountain Brook pretty handedly, 54-14. So, you know, I think it's going to be a tough game. I look for the Huskies to rebound this week, though. I think they probably faced last week the toughest team they'll face all year in Clay Chalkville. So I look for the Huskies to rebound. I think you're going to see them. They played Clay good for 3 quarters. I think you're going to see them play tough again. I'm picking the Huskies and maybe a minor upset here. I'm picking them to win 38-35.
I like the Huskies this week too, and I'll tell you why. I just don't think that region north of here is as good as the region that Hewitt plays in. I wouldn't be surprised to see every team in this Hewitt region, Hoover, Vestavia, Spain Park, and Hewitt, all win this week. Mm-hmm. Very good teams, and I mean, there's not a bad team on that. On those right. 4 I just named, those are all very good football teams. Have all been in the top 10 at some point this year. I just don't know if the competition's the same. So I'm with you. I like the Huskies in an upset. I don't think Jerian Street is ready for his career, his high school career to be over. I don't think Bailey McElwain's ready for his to be done either. I think the Huskies win this week, 35-31, and it's going to set up an interesting matchup. If Spain Park can win their ball game, we're going to have a rematch with Spain Park.
And I think it'll be here. We don't want to jump ahead too far, but typically in the playoffs scheme, if you travel the first week, Spain Park will be at home. Both of those teams win, both Hewitt-Trussville and Spain Park. I believe Hewitt-Trussville will host, and oh, what a great matchup! That rematchup that would be next week. But we got to take care of James Clemens first.
Well, and I think we will. I think the Huskies can get it done, and that's our show for tonight. We're hoping all 3 of these teams win. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk about all of these games. For Alan Taylor, I'm Zach Steele. Good night, everybody.